Good morning. I'm Anthony Henderson, speaker extraordinaire. Welcome to another edition of Wake Up Wednesdays. It's your midweek pick me up. It's your boost of inspiration. It's your hump day. Holla. Ha ha. It's the place where you can get all the tools that you need in order to succeed. Today's title is Five Things Not to Say to Kids. Five things not to say to kids. Five things not to say to children. You might be watching me and, you've said things and allowed things to come out of your mouth. And after they're coming out, you're like, no, you're trying to pull it on back. I know I've been there. I've been there a few times, but hopefully, prayerfully, that through this broadcast, you're going to get some tools that's going to help you not to be in that situation where it's open mouth, insert foot. And I can't take credit, for the content of what I'm going to share with you per se, because what I did is I got this information from an amazing organization called All Pro Dads. Really it's helping fathers be better men and be better fathers along the way. And one of the things that kind of prompted me to deal with this, five things not to say to kids is, being an inspirational speaker, being a youth sports coach, I come into contact with many youth on the regular, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds over the years. And I remember one time I was at a senior retreat, and there was this young man. And, one of the beautiful things I love about the senior retreats is, it's an opportunity for them to speak and, share different things about their lives. And one of the most shocking moments occurred. One of my star players, he stood up and he told a story about his dad. He couldn't hold back the tears as he revealed his father's words to him. His father said, "You're an amazing disappointment to me. You are an amazing disappointment to me." The pain of those words, it just ran so deep. You are an amazing disappointment to me. And if you don't get anything out of today's broadcast, this is the main point I want you to understand. And that is that words hurt. Words can hurt. I mean, whoever made up that phrase, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me, they must have been smoking crack. Because words can and words do hurt. So we have to be very mindful, never underestimate the power of a few well-chosen, or careless words. Never underestimate the power of those. All right. So I'm going to share five things not to say to kids. You might be watching me and you're saying to yourself, well, Anthony, I don't have any children. I don't have any kids of my own, but that's okay. As an adult, as a mentor, as a leader in your respective community, you're going to come into contact with somebody's child along the way. So first thing you do not want to say is, I don't believe in you. I don't believe in you. I don't believe in you. You see, guys, knowing that your dad or the adult believes in you, what it does is it gives your kids strength. It gives them courage, motivation, tenacity, so many other things. If you take that belief away, the damage is going to be huge. The damage is going to be huge. You don't want that. So never say, I don't believe in you. Take out the don't. Just say, I believe in you. Say, I know you can do it. Say that you're a star and that you've been created to shine. Never say, I don't believe in you. Because here's the thing, when you criticize, and speak negatively about your kids, they're not going to stop loving you. You're their daddy. You're their mother. You're their mentor. You're the auntie. You're that person in authority. They're not going to stop loving you because their love is unconditional. But they're going to stop loving themselves. They're going to stop loving themselves. And you don't want that. You don't want to ever put a kid in a situation where they don't love themselves. Another thing you don't want to say to a child or to a kid is, you're such a disappointment. You're such a disappointment. Because here's the reality. Our kids can and they will mess up. They will. Not maybe. They're going to. Heck, we're adults and we mess up. I'm 50 years young. I make a mistake on the daily. Yes, I do. I'm a human being. But if we want our children to learn from their mistakes, it's the mess that we address. It's not them. We have to separate the two. We have to separate the two. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, if we want them to learn from the mistake, we got to separate the child from the mess. Separate them. Separate the child from the mess. Separate the child from the mess. It's the mess that we address. See how that kind of rhymed? It's the mess that we address. Separate the two. Separate the two. Don't say that what you did. I'm so disappointed in you. Say no, I'm disappointed in what you did. That was a bad choice. That was a bad decision. Just a minor little tweak, okay? But never say you're such a disappointment. I'm not disappointed in you. I'm disappointed in what you did. I still love you unconditionally. All right? Because kids can and they will mess up. I guarantee you. Third thing, why can't you be like your brother? Why can't you be like your sister? When we start comparing, our kids to each other, to their siblings, their brother, their sister, it's a waste of time. Comparisons really and truly are just a waste of time. They're hurtful and they serve no positive purpose, none at all. Each child is an individual and they have different callings, they have different gifts. Okay, so don't compare them. Don't say, why can't you be like Johnny? Johnny's getting straight A's. Well, Johnny might be strong in academia, okay? But Sally is stronger in athletics. They're different. There's no comparison. Don't compare your child to each other. I remember some years back on one of my soccer teams, and I had a new athlete on my team, and I always introduce myself to the parents via individual phone call, and I called the dad, and he starts speaking to me, and he's telling me about his son and how amazing he is, and I love that. I mean, you should be your child's number one fan. You should be your child's number one advocate. So he's telling me how great of a soccer player he is, and I'm dreaming myself and thinking, I said, shoot, I got another David Beckham, got another Pele on the team. But it was so far from the truth. So far from the truth. When I tell you the young man just wasn't gifted in sports, he just wasn't gifted in athletics, that would be an understatement. Okay, but he was still a blessing to the team. Okay, but what ended up happening is a couple years down the line, and the reason I'm sharing this story with you is the younger brother is the one that's the athlete. The younger brother is the one that out there, he's a beast. He's dominating in sports. Okay, but that older brother was on my previous soccer team. He's a rapper. He's a songstress. He writes raps and lyrics, and he's sweet with that thing. But that's his gift. All right. So don't compare siblings to another. Don't say, why can't you be more like your brother? Why can't you be more like your sister? Be like, hey, I love that gift that God has blessed in you. All right. The last thing, no, not the last thing, the fourth thing you don't want to say. You don't want to say anything negative, anything bad about your spouse. Not at all. Nothing. Never, ever, ever say anything bad, negative about your spouse. Whether you're divorced, whether you're happily married, whether you're struggling, never complain about your spouse to your kids. Never say your dad is a deadbeat dad. You don't have to say that, because guess what? If he's a deadbeat dad, they see that. That will be revealed to them in time. You don't have to say it. Every father, every dad that talks about their spouse with 100% respect ends up being respected more himself. So never, ever, ever, ever say anything negative about your spouse. Well, Anthony, I'm not married. It was just a one night stand. Now we got a kid together. 15 years later, I can't stand it. You may not be able to stand it, but don't let anything negative come out your mouth about the mother of your child. She wasn't so bad when you laid up with her. She wasn't so bad when you whispered sweet nothings in her ear, okay, and formed that baby, that gift of life. So don't let anything negative come out your mouth about the other parent in that household, okay? Never say anything negative about your spouse or the mother or the father of your child, okay? Because again, we don't want our children to look like this, all right? This is what happens. This is how they feel emotionally oftentimes. And then the last thing that you don't ever want to say or not do to your child is nothing. Nothing. Think about that for a moment. Nothing. Now, just like solitary confinement is one of the most difficult punishments that you can endure, it's one of the most difficult punishments known to man. Being squeezed out, being ignored by a parent can be very damaging to your child. Talk to your child. Open dialogue means the relationship is actually going somewhere. That's what you want. You want the relationship to go somewhere. You want to work on something. Because what are we trying to do? I'm so glad you asked. We're trying to build happy, resilient problem solvers. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to build happy, resilient problem solvers. Are you always going to agree with your child? Are they always going to, see eye to eye with you? No, it's not easy. I'm a parent of two teenagers, a 16-year-old daughter and a 13-year-old son. Okay, love them both unconditionally. All right, but we're trying to build happy, resilient problem solvers because life is not always going to be a walk in the park. They have to be able to solve problems. As a parent, as an adult, you can't bail them out of any and everything. I read the news and, just last week, I think it was, a young man took his life in my local area. He stepped in front of a train because he had a lot of stress on his plate. He felt that burden of life that no child should ever have to feel. Okay. But you have to also put your kids in a position to where they figure it out themselves because you're not always going to be there for them. And when they're faced with that trial, when they're faced with that tribulation, what are they going to do? They have to be a problem solver. They have to be resilient. They have to be able to bounce back. Well, Anthony, I love my son. I love my daughter. I don't want them to have to endure. You got to let them go through a little something, okay? And coach them along the way. Coach them along the way. Who do we have with us today? Gil, how you doing, my friend? Thank you so much for that compliment. Wonderful, my brother. God bless you. Hope you're doing well. Gilbert Lightbone. But yeah, you might say to yourself, well, Anthony, 5 things not to say. That's a lot of pressure. Well, Billie Jean King said pressure is a privilege. Being a parent is a privilege. One of my mantras is do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, whether you feel like it or not. I tell my kids all the time, I'm 50 years young. I tell my wife, most of the things I do, I don't feel like doing. I'm not in the mood, but I do it anyway because I think about the results. I think about the goal at the end. Your child, your son, your daughter, they didn't ask to be here, but they're here. So do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it, whether you feel like it or not. Well, Anthony, I worked 50, 60 hours this week. I'm tired. I'm tired too. But if you want your kid to grow and develop into something special, you got to put in some time. You got to get up off that couch and go out there in that front porch and play catch with them for a few moments. You got to go into your daughter's room and have some dialogue. Hey, sweetie, how was your day? I remember last week you said you're having difficulty in geometry. How are things going this week? Takes time. How do you spell love when it comes to a child? Time. Time. So spend time. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got something out of today's broadcast. I'm going to give you my contact information. You can call or text me 320-2UPLIFT, 320-287-5438. This is my email address, Anthony@inspirationstation2.com. This is my website, inspirationstation2.com. You can hit me on Instagram, Anthony Henderson 2. LinkedIn, Anthony Henderson. I'm pretty much on every social media platform. Show a brother some love. You'll get some amazing content, some great positive words and posts 4 to 5 times a week because we're in this thing together. I know it's not easy. I'm not an expert. Don't claim to be. Hats off again to All Pro Dad for this content. 5 things not to say to your child. Share this video. Forward it to those that you love and truly care about because sharing is caring. Well, seeing that we have no comments, let's see. Yeah, no comments, no question. I'm going to wrap up this episode. Again, my name is Anthony Henderson, speaker extraordinaire. I am Linda D's firstborn son, reminding you that life is God's gift to you. What you do with that life is your gift to God. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful Wednesday. Bye-bye.